I think with this, we will switch gears to theme 3. Already there are good, valuable points. I was chatting with Dr. Tyagi, and I was chatting with Mala, Dr. Mala, in the background, that there is a good amount of inputs which have already come in. So just a food of thought, and I don't want to really eat away any time out here, but just a food of thought, around, apart from what we have heard from the leaders out here, there is some research out here, right? If you really see it, I'm very sure Dr. Tyagi and Mala is fully subscribed to this. In terms of some of these top metrics, which is coming from McKinsey and Capgemini and out of their researches, right? Speaking about automotive, it says only 32% of automotive sectors supply chain contributes to circular economy. And I think Vijay was going in that direction, the 360 degree of sustainability, right? How actually it is moving from compliance to purpose and responsibility and conservation, right? So to call, and in the business sense, sustainability within the business plan, right? Not just being an CSR objective there. And then more insights, and I'll just flip out quickly from here. You can see automotive industry, you can see fashion industry, the purchase, use, and post-use, more from the metric perspective. If you see fashion industry, 37% is moving away from fast fashion. The use is repair and repurpose, and of course, the post-use is give away and donate used products. Similar for automotive, 24% research environmental sustainability factors. And then, of course, regular maintenance is the use. And of course, we are seeing the used vehicles coming back. That sets another dimension in the industry. But yeah, with that, let me call in Mala, Dr. Mala and Dr. Tyagi with all these inputs from theme 1 and theme 2 to lead sustainability from the forefront and beyond just compliance to responsibility, of which a good, I would say, warm up has been brought in already by Vijay out here. Over to you, Dr. Tyagi and Mala.
Yeah, hi. So I think Dr. Naresh is going to speak first, or I could start. What would you prefer? So,
whichever, Dr. Naresh, you want to start first? From your, yeah.
Yeah. No, either way is okay. Either way, okay.
Yeah.
Mala, you want to start? You start first, and then.
Yeah. So I think it's better because being the green building and sustainability expert, because I would be discussing more about the holistic built environment, the resilient built environment, what we need. Where I'm very happy that in today's program, Mr. Saha, Vivekji, that all your speakers previously, they just mentioned about the approach of sustainability from their own business perspectives. And I'm very happy that in India, we could see the leadership from the various backgrounds of the corporate sectors, and especially when Vijay Kalraji was talking about a lot of initiative, from the Mahindra and other speakers. So I'm very happy that in India, at least we are talking about sustainability at a very macro level now, because initially, if we just throw a light in the past, so I think these were just very buzzwords, and people were just, sustainability is just about, some people have understanding their own definitions, because having this Brundtland definition was not sufficient. Now people have very, I would say, different perspective in their own business style, the way they do businesses, even but the government sector. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
So I think what I believe, the sustainability has a different definition for each of us. So if it is a corporate, or if it is a government organization, or if it is an individual level, like Mr. Kalra has mentioned a example of his wife, she's buying vegetable, from the market. So how she understand the, the capacity to understand the organic and, the safe practices in their individual life. So I think everyone has a different perspective of sustainability, but finally the goal is one, because we all are talking about, because we all are seeking for a sustainable built environment now, because we need a resilient future for us, for our present generation, and for the future generation.
Yeah.
So basically, if you look into the IPCC report and COP26, we were discussing all these sustainability agendas there. So I think a lot of discussions happened, a lot of people, a lot of countries have given their commitments. But finally, when it comes to the reality, it comes to the contribution of each of us, then I think picture becomes a very different, because it becomes at the corporate level, then it becomes at the state level, it becomes at the national level, then it becomes at the global level. So finally, we all are working in a common path, it's a one goal. We need a resilient future. So once we understand the goal is one, but the way of I'm contributing as an individual, as an organization, what are my sustainability goals in respect to my business? If we understand that, we create the strategies accordingly, we create the action and agendas, we execute it properly, we monitor, we measure, and finally, what we achieve. That is also still uncertain, because sustainability is not a final destination that you are going to achieve what you set. Like somebody said very rightly that you can't say 30% energy saving, your goal is, or 40% water saving, like that. It is a continuous path. It's a continuous journey for all of us.
Yeah.
We have to just go through with this journey, and what we get at the end, I think, at least we are delivering, something good, something, for the good cause. I think we need to understand that. And I think, Mr. Vivek, because coming to the industry, because I am more from the green building side, and we are contributing in the various sectors, where it is a healthcare, where it is a hospitality, where residential, commercial market of the real estate. So I think I'll be speaking more about that in my presentation, because sustainability is a very new buzzword for the real estate market. Because for the corporates, we have a ESG compliance, we are addressing sustainability in various ways. But when it comes to the real estate market, we have a very different perspective of understanding of sustainability, because until we don't design green, we don't build green, we don't do the good practices of construction management on ground, I think we can't achieve the sustainability agenda. So can you just take my slides forward, please, or should I operate it from here? So I will not just define what is a definition. Can you just skip my slides, please? Yeah, as I rightly said that it's a long-lasting journey towards a common goal. So we all are working, we all are doing our own bit towards our goals, business goals, sustainability goals, and integrating our sustainability goals in the business. Whatever business I do, doesn't matter. So finally, we are progressing towards a common goal. Next, please. Next, please. So now coming to the purpose and responsibility. So once we understand our purpose, so purpose comes the first. Because if we understand the purpose, why we are working on the sustainability, then definitely responsibility matters. Responsibility goes to every stakeholder. So it is coming from the, if you look into the triple bottom line, starting from your decision makers, your management system, then coming to the normal, the middle management, lower management, I think everybody has to contribute to achieve this common goal and to be a responsible, equally responsible for each and every aspect of the sustainability. Next, please. Here, I would like to address whether when we are talking about this ESG compliance or sustainability for the businesses, I think after COP26, it's very clear that we need to now address these issues very seriously, Because although we check in a one slide, which Mr. Vivek has shown that from the McKinsey report, that we are still not able to deliver in the sustainability as is expected. Because if you see the IPCC report, what we need today in this generation, I think we have already lost this chance. Now was the time for execution, but here we are making the strategies on the board. We are working on the strategies right now. Then we will execute after 5 years, 10 years, then we will just monitor those goals, performances. So I think it's a very high time for all of us to look into this aspect. Coming to the, if you see the COP26, where Mr. Narendra Modi ji, our Honorable Prime Minister, has given this commitment of net zero, as well as he has given the commitment of capacity of 500 gigawatt by 2030. So I think the support, like the corporates, we were listening from the morning, when they are also contributing in the green energy agenda, they are also progressing in the integration of renewable energy in their businesses. So I think that is going to help, in this complete mission at national level. So their contribution really matters to us to achieve this national agenda. Here, I think simple example, I think I was hearing just last week that Reliance Industry itself is investing 70,000 crores to bring, the green hydrogen, and they are setting up in Gujarat. It's almost a very, very huge solar energy plant where they're investing 75,000 crore rupees. So I think contribution from macro level corporates or MSMEs, or I would say all of us, will help us to achieve these agendas at the national level agendas, which are now important for achieving our national goals and national commitments at the international level. Then coming to the net zero, it sounds very cool, net zero. But when you work on net zero, really, how it matters to me, what is net zero for me, even the understanding of subject is a complex till now. Because people have started to talk about net zero, but net zero is very baby concept now, I'll tell you frankly. Because people generally believe that net zero is something what I consume and how I compensate with the renewable sources of energy. So it's just, what I consume and how I compensate that. The people have that level of understanding. But when it comes to the building sector or it comes to the development sector, it has a very, very different perspective of net zero, which I would love to share with you. Next, please. Yeah. Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. So if you look into this particular slide, when I mentioned that 500 gigawatt goal, so presently we have just only 101 gigawatt in 2021 as well various research reports. But now there is a goal of 400 gigawatt, which we have to fulfill. So we need to do it stepwise. We can do in first step, second step, in small parts, we could achieve this goal. All the corporates are working. Government is also doing a lot of policy interventions, like solar rooftop policy we have on-site and off-site policies in our country, and on-site policies are helping us. These are a little challenging because of the space constraints, but definitely off-site policies are helping at a macro level to achieve these missions. Next, please. Next, please.
Just pausing you a bit, Mala, Dr. Mala.
Yeah.
We have a small situation here. Dr. Tyagi has to leave, and even Sameer, and I also need to bring Ashok. So okay. At this point, of course, the slides can be on, or as Dr. Tyagi would want to bring. I really want to see. I'm agreeing that I'm putting Dr. Tyagi on spot, right? He has like 5 speakers, 2 themes, and you also talking about, and he has dirtied his hand and he has been in the ground experiencing all this. So Mala, while you are there as a consultant and of course been glued across in the Green Revolution, this is where I want to bring Dr. Tyagi on his learnings, and then we can switch back to you, Dr. Mala.
No, wait, let Mala complete. Let Mala complete.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay.
I think I would like to switch off my slides. Can you just remove the presentation, please? Yeah, yeah. So, because, belonging to the building sector, real estate sector, I would love to more focus on that. Because when we started this journey in 2001 in India, so this green concept was a very new to the industry in 2001. When we just started to talk about what is green building, what is healthy building, these were very new baby concepts for our country. So then we just, got a concept from the US. When the green building standards were available there, then we brought this to India by Indian Green Building Council, which is a part of CII. And the first green building was constructed in Hyderabad, which is a CII's head office. It was just a smaller building, which is a 20,000 square meter, which is roughly equivalent to 2,000 square feet. And the additional cost of making that building green was 17 to 18% that time. But with the time frame, what happened when we gradually progress in this green building movement. So we realized that how the green supply chain is going to affect the industry, how it is affecting the green economy, how it is affecting our green and current environmental policy. Then I think we realized that there is a lot of need of participation of different kind of stakeholders from the industry. So where architects, builders, your green product suppliers, they all came together, and this council, we have formulated so many rating systems in India for specific to the typology of projects, micro level to macro level. And let me tell you, my all dignitaries here, when we started this journey in 2001 in India, there was only one project, and today it is the market of 8 billion square feet construction footprint, which are already green. And every corporate, I think, who are sitting here, they are also converting their existing facility into green and sustainable. They are also taking these certifications, and they are also working on these net zero and energy policies, water saving, waste management, all these aspects as a part of their standards, integral standards, I would say, approach. Then having said that, green building was just foundation concept, a fundamental concept. But when it comes to the net zero, unless until you are not green building or you are not a green, I would say by default, your project, your facility is not green, you cannot talk about net zero, because net zero is an advanced concept where you have to have as just as a green facility first, you need to work on the fundamental principles of green, where you are addressing your site management, you are addressing your design interventions, you are addressing your digital technology interventions like BIM modeling, like energy simulations, like various aspects of green, which are related to your design interventions. Then it comes to your material supply chain, then your green product availability, then local material availability. So I think then it comes to the operation. When it comes to the operation, it is very, very important whether my facility management, the understanding of the concept of operation with efficiency, whether their competence level is very important here. Your technology performances are very important here. But when you talk about new development, it is little easier. But when it comes to the facilities like corporate people who are here in this forum, when it comes to the existing facility, existing manufacturing units, or existing building facility, so here design intervention can't help us. So here operation really plays a very important role. So to achieve your sustainability goal, then energy efficiency, their water efficiency, all these, your different goals perspective, your strategies, then your KPI indicators, then how you progress and perform into that, then really it matters. Then your certification programs also helps you to achieve the sustainability goals. I think I like to just share one case study here because time is the constraint. We were doing a project of State Bank of India, which is in Mumbai city, which is an Nariman Point. It is a 48 years old building. So we were there from last 3 years when we started our auditing mechanism there, because in existing built environment, you cannot start from the design perspective. You need to look into the auditing mechanism. So when we started it, so we identified our return of investment and ROI analysis. When we did it, so we realized that in the 3 years, the 8 crores investment in the revamping of equipment, in the retrofitting of equipments, the 8 crore investments, the electricity bill, which was coming before 3 years in 2016, that was 90 lakh rupees per month. And through this sustainability initiatives and intervention of green building standards to cut down the energy consumption, to cut down the water consumption, and to minimize the waste, you will be surprised that from the 90 lakh, it came to 46 lakhs through small interventions of revamping of, the technologies. So when it came to the 46 lakh, the electricity bill, 2,600 CO2 emissions, CO2 emissions per ton we were able to reduce. So it also depends upon when you come into the development sector, if it is existing built environment, so how you look responsibly, how you contribute responsibly, how much, I would say, strength in your strategies are there, your strategies are perfect or not, that's very important. And how you execute that effectively, which is very important. And then how you select your technology, that is also very important. I think somebody says that they have switched off from the LED light, and they have removed all their conventional lights. So definitely it matters. Small things, small do's and don'ts, they really matters in the sustainability. So it is not something whether you just only talk about the technology at a macro level, but handling those technology, operation of those technologies is equally important in handling the existing built environment or any new built environment. And apart from the technology, I think behavior approach is also very important, which really plays a big responsibility to all the stakeholders who are a part of those projects or part of those facilities. Technology matters when your behavior is also equally responsible. Suppose I'll give you an example. You have a low flow fixtures in any facility. Unless people don't behave nicely, they don't understand their responsibility to look into that aspect of conservation, still you will have the challenges to achieve those goals. So it's very important. How do you design? How do you look into your green purchase supply? How do you look into your operation effectively? How do you inculcate, behavior approach among the stakeholders by doing the capacity building programs, through sensitization, through green awareness? I think everything equally becomes very important. Finally, I think this is what, I would like to say here.
Sure. So I'm bringing the whole spot back to Dr. Tyagi, and Vijay, I think I've been speaking with Vijay and Aditya as well. All the practitioners want to hear Dr. Tyagi's view on his path to be a successful transformer, as his role on Chief Sustainability Officer, right? How he has brought that change in that industry, while all other industry, I would say, are at different levels of maturity. So Dr. Tyagi, you are on the final spot for this. All eyes on to you.
Thank you, Vivek, Anirvan and entire Apollo team for this great initiative and inviting me to talk. Let me give my perspective, because I come from the industry, and this industry, I think, is very on extreme age. One side, it's very fashionable and glamorous. You will find all sport on that fashion and glamorous in that.
Yeah. And
that mostly in that city or in Western world. Other side, how that product is made, it's completely unglamorous and unattended. Because by virtue of this industry, this is built on the business model where you retail product in developed country or well advanced country, but you will make this product in least developed country. The whole that business model is built on that unsustainable practice. Yeah. And now I think that if you see that most of the global brand which are in Western world, their supply chain is in Asia. And you make product in one country and you sell in another country. That model is not sustainable if it is not look for the value chain perspective. So I will give that whole perspective, how that I have seen the industry, because most of the time when you go to conference and event, you find that people talk a lot of things on that green, But in actual, nothing happened on that manufacturing side of greening. I'm talking about our industry, particularly garment and fashion and retail. Megha, if you can put my slide.
Yeah, Megha, please.
And then other side of this industry, I would say that India and particularly developing country who are in league of moving to developed country, all that market is evolving very fast. So as a retail company, as a brand company, when you are in Asia, you have to compete and you have to talk about that whole maturity level the way it is talk in global arena. I think in that perspective, in last 1 decade, we have tried in fashion and retail sector how it can be good business case, how it can be not only.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Professor Chandan Chaudhary has a question for you, I think.
Yeah.
Professor Chaudhary, you have your hand up.
I will take question answer in last part of my presentation.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
no, Dr. Tyagi, please go ahead. I have no question. It's very interesting
Sure.
topic.
Yeah, I've popped up your slides. I think, unfortunately, Megha was not copied there. I just realized that. So I'm just sharing it. Hope everyone can see it.
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Yeah, move. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I have worked in all.
Some noise somewhere.
Sorry, some disturbance at my side.
Oh, okay, not a problem. We thought I was worried about my side actually.
As I have advantage to work across industry, I've seen all side of fashion industry, be it in supply side or be in retail and brand side, more or less work in all aspect of operation. Let's move to next, Megha. So about the group, I represent Aditya Birla Group. It's one of the largest Indian conglomerate, have global operation, very diversified group. Next, please. I come from that fashion retail business. We have bouquet of brand, and you will see that from mass market to even that luxury segment to premium, everywhere we have our presence. It's very young organization. Average age of employee is around 27, 28 years. And how you keep that young talent involved, something to do purposeful. I think we felt it is not only that thing to be doing, just nice thing to do, but how to embed sustainability as a part of business DNA. And that's something I will share how we are able to do that. Go ahead. Next. So what framework we thought that is right thing to do is that most of the people look that sustainability as a compliance point of view, but we took as a responsible stewardship, as a business, as a responsibility. It's not only looking compliance for local market, but how to have international and global standard, how to go beyond compliance is something which we define as a responsible stewardship. And then most important is that how you involve all stakeholder, because a stakeholder is not only your supplier or partner, but your customer, consumer, NGO, your MDP, your even regulatory investor. So how you involve all that stakeholder in meaningful way to do thing which is good for future proofing, not only for supply chain, but entire value chain, and how you get ready for not only 1 decade, but multiple decade to be sustainable. And it for us, it is ability to sustain rather than to be just doing sustainability. Next, please. So with that perspective, we in 2012, we all leaders sat together and we say that we want to do that sustainability as a purpose, as a business philosophy. we look into all global benchmarking. We look into our own Aditya Birla Group vision and sustainability framework. We involve a lot of industry expert. We look all that regulatory landscape, not only in our country, but entire globe. And then we look what should be the future proofing exercise, us to do business in sustainable manner. And then whole program we charted out, a program called Re-Earth. Even in 2012, all that 50, 60 leaders signed the pledge. And that pledge, next slide, please. Next, yeah. And that pledge was that we are committed to give back more what we take from the ecosystem. And with that pledge, which we all leader agreed, we set up 10 missions from energy, carbon, waste, water, waste, green building, product, packaging, safety, CSR. And one of the thing what we did, that each mission was led by one of the senior most guy in the company. We set target, we set KPI, we made all that teamwork, and then 3 to 5 year target was set in that. For example, in energy, we set target, we want 30% energy reduction. We want a good portion of our energy to move to renewable energy source. With clear charter, with a clear mission, we start looking into that. And last year, 2020, next please. We were able to actually not only achieve all the target what we say, but most of the targets, we were beyond target actually. Our energy target was that 50%. Today we are 70% recycle, reuse of our water. And energy was 30%, we are 34% is renewable energy. Green building, my panelists, co-panelists, she talk about a CII green building. We started with the UG BSc green building lead certification. We had most of our factory and warehouse lead certified or CII IGBC certified gold or platinum. Perhaps we are the first retail company to have logistic certified to the platinum level by CII IGBC. 12 lakhs square feet has been certified against our target of 10 lakhs. And most of the factory and the warehouse either gold certified or platinum level. We have that zero waste to landfill. None of our waste goes to landfill. All waste is recycled, repurposed or reused. And we have that full traceability to map it to last mile of recycling and repurposing, not to have landfill. Next, please. Safety is one of the critical components for our operation, be it factory, warehouse, office, our retail distribution center, retail store. We have zero severity in our operation. We have our product, we have articulated what should be the sustainable attribute for product. And we define that 4 sustainable attribute for our product. 40% of our product have that one sustainable attribute. Packaging, we have 88% of sustainable packaging. Even one of the case study of our packaging, when you pack a shirt or a garment, it used to have that 22 component to pack a garment. Today we have only 8 component to pack a garment. We have saved or eliminated tonnage of packaging component. Perhaps we are the first company in India retail to have plastic-free packaging in our retail store. We eliminated all our plastic carry bag from retail store in 2014-15. And people took an example that Madhura had done or Aditya Birla Fashion has done, we will do it. CSR, one of the strong pillar for our Aditya Birla Group. We are very strong in our CSR program because we want that impact and social impact to be created on the community and society. We map it with beneficiary. Next, please. With all these commitment and achievement, actually one of the things which we are able to do is that it's part of our business operation. It's no more in periphery, it's core of our activity. And these things has helped us to move in ESG performance. We are the only Indian company to have a Dow Jones Sustainability Index Asia top company. And if you see the name of top 10 company, from Burberry to Hugo Boss to from Asia, having this small company in list of top 10 for Dow Jones itself is a good outcome for our ESG commitment, what we have been following and doing in that not only behavior, but as a philosophy in our organization. Even this year, second time we have been rated as Asia's most sustainable company in our sector for textile apparel and luxury retail. Next, please. We have been doing our ESG reporting, sustainability reporting for last couple of years. I will encourage all of you to go through our report, because this is very well recognized in terms of our disclosure and transparency. If some of the result or achievement, we are not up to the target, we have tried to even give right picture what is done or not done. So we have kept full transparency and honesty in our disclosure, and that's why it has been well rated. Next, please. We believe that one organization can't do that whole thing, because you require a lot of innovation, you require a lot of collaboration, and to build ecosystem, you have to go beyond your own company boundary. And to achieve this target of moving from one industry to whole industry ecosystem, we decided that we need to have collaboration with a lot of like-minded people. Some of the example like Circular Apparel Innovation Factory. We are the founding circle member of this in India. Alan MacArthur make fashion circular. We are part of their new textile economy, which talk about circular economy in textile sector. Forum for Future, Cotton 2040, we are again founding circle member for that. Sustainable Apparel Coalition, we are the perhaps only Asian company to adopt HIG index in our retail and manufacturing. Lot of other things like IGBSC, we have been given Green Infrastructure Company Award by IGBSC. Even now we are working with them to set guideline and norms for retail store, how Indian retail store can be taken for green retail building concept or retail. We have been working with UGBSC for LEED certificate, true waste or true zero waste example, which we are doing for one of our factory, is in line with that. All these things give us a lot of scope to work with our competition, our like-minded people like Sure, where we signed pledge, 16 brand in India signed pledge with Ministry of Textile. We want sustainable resolution by 2024. And one of the kind initiative in India, where we have taken anchorship, many other forum like this, GIZ, we are working now on circular economy ecosystem for South Asia in textile and apparel sector. So we believe this whole thing need to go for industry ecosystem, where innovation and collaboration is very, very critical and crucial. Next, please. So all our effort, which we have been putting in last 1 decade, it is well recognized for our sustainability work, because Dow Jones Sustainability Index, we are in their yearbook 2021 member. CIITC, we are the outstanding achievement in corporate and sustainability excellence. Golden Peacock, Business World, all these are testimony of that what we have been doing. Our framework is in line with all that national and global standard and framework for sustainability and excellence. Next, please. Same way that some other recognition for Frost & Sullivan, Golden Peacock, even ICC, Social Impact Award. We were able to get one of the highest score in that. And perhaps in India, for our CSR, we are the only company to have Green Village rating system for one of our model village, and it's platinum rating by CII VSC. Next, please. So if I have to tell that how we have done that whole nutshell, 1 decade journey, we started our journey in 2012. Very simple objective of Re-Earth program, where we signed the place, we set the mission, we did the global benchmarking, we find what are the gap in our working. We had the team, not only that sustainability team, but senior leadership team commitment to align with all this strategy and goal. In last couple of years, we have focused a lot on resource efficiency, be it water, energy, carbon, packaging, waste. Now we are moving into that what we call from sustainability 1.0 to 2.0, where we want that whole business model to be transformed and transit from linear system to circular. Whole that model of physical retail store to move to that digital way of working. So how to transform that whole industry ecosystem with technology, with innovation and collaboration, something which we are working on in sustainability strategy and goal 2025, which we call our sustainability 2.0. Next, please. So this is our 2.0, where we say that it's a whole life cycle, not life cycle analysis, but life cycle thinking, where we need to build sustainability in our thinking when we design the product, when we create the product, when we manufacture the product. So we call it clean by design, beyond resource efficiency. It's more about resource optimization, how we will have that sustainable collaboration with all our partners, supply chain, as well as value chain, how we include more and more stakeholder, including our consumer, customer, and other partners and vendors to have inclusiveness in that whole program. With that, we are now moving to process-led, which is more resource efficiency, to product-led, which is life cycle thinking and sustainable product thinking itself. Tough target, but our past achievement and credential and the kind of ecosystem what we are taking within company and outside, that we are sure that this challenge will be moving to our 2.0. Next, please. So with that, now I will take a pause here and I will say that for us, it's not never done deal. Sustainability is and will always remain work in progress, because whatever is good practice today, it will be basic practice tomorrow. So we need to have challenging the status quo. We need to move to a next best practice. We need to have innovation and collaboration as a key philosophy to keep us changing the rhythm, changing the work practice, because we find that every 5 years, our retail landscape or competition landscape change. So how we keep that from unorganized 80% competition to now global competition or to e-commerce competition, is that something which is still work in progress. So with that, thank you very much. And I'll be happy to take any question. Because of paucity of time, I have tried not to talk too much, but I will be happy to take any question.
Yeah, I have a question, Vivek, if it is okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was laser sharp, Dr. Tyagi. I think we will take the inspiration for execution from you. This is something which every other industry can trace back, right, and learn from you. Surely, I think we should have a more deeper and more comprehensive session with all the leaders as they would want to, for sure. So over to you, Professor Chandan, and I think after that we'll go to Ashok, who has the whole ecosystem perspective around sustainability.
Yeah, I just have one observation and one question. my observation is I think you have been doing some fantastic work, right? The kind of initiative that you are taking in the area of sustainability. My question is, the apparel that you you sell in your outlet, do you have kind of traceability of from where it is coming and going up to the soil? What do you say, right from farm till your outlet? Do you have something like this or any future vision for that?
Professor Chandan, thank you for your compliment and very difficult question to answer. Let me answer in two parts. One is that what we have done and possible to trace. Other is that what we see in our future endeavor. First part is that we believe in ethical sourcing and procurement. So whatever we make or source, it has all that traceability from where we source, how we source. We have mapped all our tier 1 and tier 2 supplier for that traceability. It's still long way to go for tier 3. So we have that, let's say, garment supplier, textile supplier, maybe spinner level, but cotton traceability, except to some of the certification like BCI, we don't have that cotton traceability at farm level. That is about that one part of. Other side, which is when our product goes to any store or any distribution center, we have full mapping. It is on the technology platform end to end. We have that something called product lifecycle management, PLM, and all product is from design to delivery is mapped on that PLM. Hence, we are able to trace it through our PLM for our own operation. From consumer perspective, to have some sort of back traceability, we have that manual way, but technology like blockchain and other way of technology platform, still we are in pilot stage. One of the things which we try to do is that our own consumer waste, pre-consumer and post-consumer waste, we try to get back, convert them into cellulosic fiber, our own company Birla Cellulose, and we use that blockchain technology to trace it back. But that was at the pilot stage and only for one kind of particular product category. There are many other categories like that which we have done on the blockchain and other technology platform, but entire SKU level end-to-end product traceability using technology, currently I would say it is hybrid model, manual and semi technology model.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Tyagi, just a few questions from you. I have seen that you have mentioned about all the green building certifications, including, for the village, smart village rating you received. So my question is here, are you looking for the net zero framework also in the future under these certification programs?
Actually, we work very closely with CII, IGBSC and USGBC. Even many times whenever they launch any new framework, we happily pilot it. Even retail store that we are ready to pilot it. Logistic, we were the first one to pilot it for that. So I think this whole exercise is done collaboratively and jointly. Our ambition is that what is not only certificate is one way of outcome, but how it has business relevance, how much we save in terms of energy, water. We have the 10 KPI for that green building.
Nice.
What are the business benefit we have?
Yeah.
And I think that we have progressed very well. With that progress, IGBSC and UGBSC, they are very happy. And now they are taking a pilot for net zero. So we are doing 2 of our facility for net zero exercise. Our ambition is to move to net zero. We are already, I'm part of advisory group of SBTI, where we have done that due diligence for our sector. we are very much on that aligned to net zero process and that net zero building. But I would say that until unless we get that first pilot certified for net zero, I would not be able to say much on that.
I think,
yes.
sir, I'll just like to intervene and just for the sake of knowledge, because IGBC, because I'm a board member and I'm the vice chair for Mumbai for Green Building Council. So for IGBC, net zero energy rating and net zero water, net zero waste and net zero carbon. Because
Yes.
first it was upbuilt up to net zero energy, then net zero water, then net zero waste. Now there is a framework for the carbon where all the three scopes are, incorporated in the standard, the complete standard, like scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, like that.
So Dr. Mala, that we have taken that net zero framework for water, energy, these two we have taken, and carbon we will be taking later on.
Very nice. It's a good progressive approach, because I love the one thing when you said that we work beyond certification. We think beyond certification, where unless you don't understand the impact of your, these initiatives, and you don't map that, so you don't understand actually what you are getting out of that, like energy saving, water saving, and where are the gaps in the future you need to revamp or retrofit. I think this is a complete journey, as you rightly said, that it is a continuous path.
So Dr. Mala, I think that one thing I would like to say that we believe that we need to do walk the talk.
Yes.
We need to first do the thing and then talk.
Very nice.
Second thing that we believe we need to be very authentic and genuine what we do. Many times, especially in Western world, I have found people talk big, but when their supply chain come to Bangladesh, you will find complete contrast. So we don't want that false trap to be just talking. We want to do walk the talk and be authentic.
Yeah,
I think this is the difference in the corporate world and when it comes to the developer industry. Because when we say them to build green, so their first question is always the benefit, just the tangible benefit. So I think the corporate now, it is well understood that the value of the sustainability as a part of the business operation. I think this is going to help, I would say, in a very long term for the futuristic vision, and people will get inspiration from the corporate world. I'm sure the leaders like you.
Absolutely. I'm already seeing the pings from people, Dr. Tyagi, to follow you, right? And you would have got LinkedIn invites, flooding LinkedIn invites already. So I want to bring I just want to spin it around and bring a totally different perspective. And I wanted to bring Ashok, my friend, more than a friend, in a later part, basically, because Ashok has been ex-CEO for NASSCOM Foundation, 30 years cross-functional experience on IT, D&I, social development space. And basically he has been achieving sustainability goals, right, propelled by industry and all through impacting with the technology as well, right? So I'm bringing you in. I think along with you I'll have Sunil as well, but I will wait for Sunil for 2 minutes. He brings the whole of digital innovation. I didn't want to bring digital purposefully till the end. Sorry, Sunil, for that. Because every time I hear that transformation is not digital, right? Digital has to be separated out. But I am agreeing that I'm putting Ashoki on spot now with your NASSCOM Foundation experience, and Megha can bring your slide, followed by Sunil later. Over to you. Over to you. You're on a bad spot.
Thank you, Vivek. I think the earlier speaker, they gave a complete insight about sustainability, and especially Dr. Tyagi's presentation was very insightful. But what I want to talk about is basically looking at sustainability beyond the horizons of ESG and CSR compliance, and how exactly is it leading to purpose, responsibility, and a key pillar on transformation. Moving to the next slide, which is actually I'm going to present just one slide. And we all know about this triple basically the triple lines, that is the social, environment, and economic. But having said that, depending on the aspect we solve for, it can be basically be sustainable or viable, equitable, or bearable. And amongst these 7 elements, you see one element which is standing out is sustainable. And we all know that, we have heard of it, that there is no rocket science is telling that we got to be compliant, because it is, I would say, it's good business, right? That's one aspect. We all know that. But what is very interesting is we have seen that when we go beyond the aspects of just putting a tick mark and saying compliance, and look at, whether we follow the GRI or a SASB or a GRSB or DJ Jones indices or whatever it is, right? Or maybe the SEBI one, which is going to come in shortly. What is it that we can do beyond compliance is the question. And what I have here is a couple of examples where we are clearly seeing that even in India, we are seeing many companies going beyond sustainability and actually helping in transformation. So let's look at it. 2 examples, international examples. And since we spoke a lot about auto in the morning, and on the top of my mind always comes Tesla, right? And we all know that Tesla is considered a game changer in the world of sustainability, because they incorporated the concept of sustainability in the heart of their overall, business strategy. Although the number of vehicles which General Motors produces, okay, or what Tesla produces in 1 year is produced by GM in 12.5 days. But having said that, $6.5 billion was not spent on gasoline because of Tesla's electric vehicle. And they are making a game changer in the entire aspect of sustainability. The second aspect is Apple, and we all spoke about, from what we call it as from cradle to grave. This is a classic example of Apple, where every single product, basically there's a trading programs, there's refurbished products, they're recycling old devices, right? And right from the sourcing to the manufacturing to again getting it back, they are basically looking at some sort of traceability. I cannot say it's 100%, but they have agreed to a net zero by 2030. And incidentally, all their plants, all their stores, all the retail outlets are 100%, they use renewable energy. Now this is going beyond sustainability. So what is it happening is it's a differentiator between Tesla and Apple. Market leadership, everybody knows, right? And they have operationalized the entire aspects of supply chain management. And obviously there's the entire aspects. So, and obviously there's a societal impact too. But when you look at coming back in India, let me give you some very good examples of what is really happening in India. And the last, Dr. Tyagi mentioned about blockchain, and top of my mind comes in the blockchain which is used by Accenture for the Akshay Patra Foundation, right? And it is not a CSR, by the way. They use tech for good as a business, and they're using, and Akshay Patra Foundation is using for, basically supplying the food. They're able to trace the food and actually plan for the next day's kitchen as to what they have to actually give. And they give for millions of things. And it's a classic example of how poverty can be elevated by using a technology, and it's called it a tech for good. Another good example is Ibm Services Core. Okay, they call it Ibm Services Core. The program, what they call is that. And especially in India and Asia Pacific, this program has done exceedingly well. Now, this is not coming under CSR, not coming under their ESG. While they may report, but it's not coming under, let's say, Section 135, Schedule 7. It's not coming there. Okay. What they do is basically one of the important aspect is employee engagement. We all know that we had this major the retention is becoming a challenge and high attrition rate and all. But many companies, when they're having such programs, actually they're able to get better employee engagement. And this program is an international program. They get the best employees across the globe to sort out issues in emerging markets. So here it could be Bangladesh, it could be Sri Lanka, or it could be Nepal, or it could be any of the cities in India. They get the best people coming down here, and they use technology to sort out the issues which is plaguing that particular government or municipal corporation or any other a government-related issue using technology. It could be IoT, it could be, the cloud offerings, anything, and they make it sustainable. The reason is after the solutions are developed by the best programmers and developers of IBM, they give that solution back to the government or to the NGO so that the product or the solution is sustainable. And this is the extremely good aspect they're doing. Now, this is transformation. Why is it transformation? Because A, they're all using IBM products. Okay, so that's why it doesn't come out any CSR anything, because you can't do it in a normal CSR route. And they work with a large number of NGOs. So they're making it sustainable. And they're getting their employees working on that product. Right now, I understand it's all gone virtual because of the pandemic. The second one is again called as Ernst & Young Y Ripples. They're committed to basically impact about 1 billion lives by 2030. Now it is really transformation, because what they're doing in India is they have created a website. It's called Gig Now. And one of the areas which you look at it is we are having a very high level of attritions in the IT industry. So what Ernst & Young has done is they have created a freelancers, or they call it as the gig workers. And the entire set of volunteers are actually helping them on future technologies through a platform which is called as Gig Now. Now, this is transformational because Ernst & Young is also recruiting them, okay, for their own work as gig workers or freelancers, because today's work is anywhere you can work, and you can take a lot of jobs to women too, because somebody mentioned about women empowerment, right? Now, this is a beautiful aspect which has really happened in Ernst & Young. Now, talking about women empowerment, what is very interesting is, while the Maternity Act has come about, amendment to Maternity Act has come about, before that itself, when I did some survey along with Trilegal, which is a very important, a law firm, we were surprised to find that 80% of the top firms in India, especially the IT firms, had actually had implemented 180 days of maternity policies. The policy came later, but all these firms had actually gone beyond the laws. The laws at that time was only 13 weeks of maternity. They had already given 180 days, and all of them had creche facilities. Now, what does this mean? It means to say that when you got to be a differentiator, when you got to be an employer of choice, or when you want to have market leadership, then you got to ensure that you have to go beyond the laws. Laws, you will comply. You'll put a tick mark and say you'll use all the tools, necessary tools, and you will say that you will be GRI compliant, you will be GRESB compliant, you will be SASB compliant, right? These are all the ESG frameworks, and it's all linked to SDGs, right? Or it could be our own, the CSR, MCA, CSR rules. But these firms have gone beyond. And same it happens to transgender. Goldman, Accenture, Cisco, all of them had started up, recruiting transgenders much before the law, the Section 377 was, basically revoked. So these are some classic examples of how companies are going beyond that, and they're working with the ecosystem. They work with a large number of NGOs, they have to work with some of them, and social entrepreneurs. Now, very interesting. Social entrepreneurs are not actually covered under the CSR law, but they work with them because they are actually helping in transformation, especially when it comes to health, it comes to education, or it comes to environment. Then these social entrepreneurs are the ones which are game changers, and they're integrating it to their overall strategies. Now, what is very interesting is this is making a game changer to their entire aspects of it, because the fact is that they are able to take it as a long term and is aligned with their business strategies. And most important, it's looking at local causes. These are some of these interesting aspects where they are using, I would say, a fusion of human beings and machines in this case, because bulk of the people today are using tech, especially in the areas of health, edutech, environment. They're all using technology, and there's a fusion which actually exists between human beings and machines. So these are some few examples which I wanted to share with you, and actually inform to you as how the overall India Inc. is actually using tech for good. And in our survey, which I know in my last company, which I did a survey, where we had a response from about 100 firms. And I was surprised to find that in these 100 firms, 70% of the firms had actually had a tech for good initiatives. And it was actually aligned with the business strategies and not necessarily with CSR. So what it essentially means is India is looking at good business, and good business is sustainable business. So over to you, Vivek. Thank you.
Perfect, Ashok. I think you have summed it up very well. And I'm very sure everyone is excited and positive of time. We cannot take questions, but of course, what we will do is, Ashok, surely there will be a lot of questions to you, and people knowing your background very well, as you have encapsulated everything into a very larger perspective. We've taken the whole ecosystem together, right? And how that works, and beyond just CSR, beyond just the individual corporate companies, to the government, to the nation, right? And I'm sure that is going to help. Where I'm going to swing this is, and I think as we conclude it, and then of course, I will not be able to take audience questions, though we have kind of rationalized it. We are going to our most important and left out topic of design thinking and data-led digital innovation, right? And that is where I'm bringing Sunil here. Sunil comes from Hitachi Vantara. He has been in Hitachi Consulting as well. And he has helped the clients in crafting business strategies in engineering, operations, and supply chain across all group of companies in Hitachi. Sharad is a good friend of mine who also comes from Hitachi, and he has brought in Sunil out here. Sharad, Sunil, if you don't know, me and Sharad have been working very closely. Sunil has been in McKinsey and Company in the management consulting firm, and he has been advising clients in defining digital strategy, roadmap deployment at the large scale, right? And also, I think has worked closely with multiple digital platforms, OEMs, and service providers. He's based out of Pune, of course, in the field, and of course, graduate in the field of electronics and telecommunication. So the way I want to bring in is, I want to bring, so if you can bring Megha, Pooja, and also Sonia into the limelight or spotlight, you can take me off. Bring these three people to talk about innovation, not just digital. And Sunil, you can please bring in the digital perspective here, supported by our global innovation head, Sonia, who has a design thinking approach, and our chief technology officer, Pooja, right, who is at, whatever you see at the surface is happening because of her. All that AI is happening because of her. And how the requirements have been crafted is happening because of Sonia, who's our innovation lead. So yeah, please bring on to the spotlight, Megha.
Very, very interesting. In fact, at the beginning of the session, when you displayed your product and a short film, it was really a very interesting one. And I think at the end of the session, you have some part reserved for that. So I'm looking forward to deep dive into that, but very close topic to me. And thanks for arranging this. Thanks for giving this slot. Considering your schedule and keeping it crisp for 5 to 10 minutes.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. People, I see people getting engrossed. So I don't want to, ease out the momentum here. You can take me out from the spotlight, but I think people should see three of you.
So let me attempt to share my screen.
Sure.
Let me know if once you can see my screen.
We can.
Okay, quick background. Worked with Hitachi for last 3 years. Mainly, initially was working with Hitachi Consulting, which later on became Hitachi Vantara, a product company, and presently working with Sharad for social innovation business, mainly on corporate level, building engineering, manufacturing, and supply chain strategies for host of Hitachi group companies in APAC. So I work closely with Hitachi ABB, Hitachi Lift, and Hitachi Estimo. The automotive acquisition happened recently to build their strategies and roadmap, etc. So very interesting role, more like strategy development and roadmap planning, including the consolidation of the sites and products.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Has been in this role for last 3 years, using my expertise basically from manufacturing background. Prior to that, was with McKinsey for 3+ years, mainly advising on digital strategies to their client, and was involved in some of the white papers as well. Those were published on smart cities. Extensively worked with Danaher, where I had a lot of Kaizen experience and lean experience of manufacturing. Extensively worked in Germany and US factories and implementing lean way of manufacturing. Also did some Shin Kaizen. So all these expertise are very useful to me right now when I implement these strategies into various Hitachi Group companies. Coming to the topic which Vivek has shared with us, is wanted to focus more on digital transformation. I know the word is a little bit different, and everybody has their eyebrows open when we talk about digital. But yes, how consultative approach will help when you do a digital transformation. And I am focusing on this slide, basically covering that. And I have one more interesting slide, which talks about our actual experience when we had this engagement ongoing with various companies. So let's look into what digital transformation area, or rather only transformation area of concern. Just to give you one very big insights, and this number can be even worse, only 1/3 of total digitization transformation drives are successful worldwide. This is proved by various statistics studied by MBB. When I say MBB, it's McKinsey, BCG, and Bain, the top 3 companies that normally termed as MBB. If you see their reports or any other report, even by A.T. Kearney, the majority of the digital transformation projects die down, and only 1/3 of them, or even lesser of them, actually reach to where they want to be at the start of the journey. Mainly, the biggest challenge is there is non-availability of the data. Data is also in raw form where you cannot capitalize, or in some cases, even if it is available, it is no means or no tool how effectively you can use this data and manage the disruptions coming up. So there is a bunch of gigantic data, but you are sitting on that data, but of no use, or there is lack of data. Also, a consultative approach is missing, which may not be a core competence of particular business or industry. Take example of infrastructure project, or take example of hospitals or a campus or manufacturing. The digital transformation may not be a core area of their expertise. There might be a team which are already geared up. For example, a company like Bosch, who are in manufacturing and also into Industry 4.0, may have an advantage of their own homegrown solution. But otherwise, if the companies are core into some other business, then it makes sense why consultative approach which help them. Some of the challenges that I personally feel, and also in same line with what Hitachi and SIB looks after, is transformation. People take huge, they have aspiration to change a lot. They wanted to do everything A to Z, and they keep very high standard when they want to do something, which probably is wrong. To attempt everything in one go is just next to impossible. They wanted to attend many issues and also wanted to attend at very high speed or rapid changes. So they are addressing various issues at the same time, and also expect turnaround time or result into a very short notice, which won't happen, which won't start. And the moment you keep lesser horizon and you don't see the results, people as well as management start losing focus, losing interest, and that's the curve where the programs fall largely, which falls into 2/3 of those total bucket. Unclear digital vision also one of the area, rather challenge. If you don't have a partner like consulting approach, or even a company like the one, you cannot have a clear vision and the holistic view of what you need to do. Some of these companies are really worked hard along with you, and then they convert it. It is called as consulting led sales enablement, and this is one of the area which initially I was working with Vantara when we launched certain product and work with steel and other casting industries and really help them to save a lot. So when a consulting approach comes into a picture, it definitely helps them, particularly about applying exact technology. I'll give one example. We did the housing board project for Singapore, and there are about more than 80,000 elevators maintained by Singapore Housing Board, and they were core and very expert in maintaining all those elevators. But when we deployed a solution which is digitally enabled, which will monitor and do a predictive analysis based on possible fault, requirement of the spares that you may need it in due course, planning of inventory, etc., a complete solution that has really helped them, and they can see the turnaround also about the overall service extension to the existing housing board colonies. Some of the consultative approach, how it helps. So what exactly the consultative approach is, they actually, you can do the mapping of various challenges. You can list the challenge and do a VSM, where each challenge may not carry that much value. When I'm into, say, VSM, value stream mapping, you can analyze each challenge, consider and park all those challenges, and actually look into the value that brings in if you resolve that challenge. There are some of the challenges which may not bring much value to your business, and makes sense to drop them or keep them in a parking lot. You can also think of doing quadrant charting. When I say quadrant charting, is a typical chart like Gartner, that you do analysis over impact and the complexity to involve certain initiatives. So it's like a value versus cost, or value versus efforts that you will put in, and makes sense that high value, low cost, or low time to be picked at first, like low hanging fruits, and then go ahead and implement those. So those are second step, I would say. Then define transformation and actionable items. Many of the things, typical jargons are used without any call out or clear actionable item. In fact, to deep dive into that, you should also have some kind of committee form with a task force, and daily stand up, and a cadence call done every day on typical program. That really helps, where the actions are spelled out, accountability is being traced and has been monitored in good sense. A competitive landscape also helps a lot, basically because you can analyze, because of each of the change that you're taking into transformation, how much extra competitive advantage that the company will gain out of it, because you can actually prioritize them based on that. Some of the changes or some of the initiatives will bring more competitive advantage in terms of new design, or in terms of resolution of the issue, or lesser service problem, or even look and feel of the product, that can give you much advantage than others, and you can accordingly prioritize. And the last one, which is more like a typical cycle, where you implement something, then keep monitoring it, act. I mean, if there are any corrective measures to be done, then act on it, and then sustain it. And you need some kind of robust or solid system to do that. Probably the system or the solution that was initially displayed by Amplo 4.0, Amplify 4.0, some such kind of product can be useful. In fact, when it talk about downstream, Hitachi also has product line like LMI, which is called as Lumada Manufacturing Insight, more talks about downstream on the machines and on the sensors. And also MFI, that is manufacturing insights, which give you dashboard and visuals, and also a predictive analysis of your production and likely TTM ratio, etc. So these are some of the aspects that I thought digital transformation, why consultative approach, the areas of concern, the challenges, and then how step-by-step analysis can be done by using consultative approach. I will move to second slide, which is our own practical experience, and very interesting slide. It shows journey from classical to digital. And Vivek, probably this will answer why digital is very important, although it is not only the reason close to my heart, but also why it is very important. If you see the initial phase, which is a stability phase, and when you implement something, it goes ups and down a performance, and it stables at one point of time. If you would have done it traditionally, the white graph shows how it goes up and how the maturity stage is reached, or how the improvements are seen, while the yellow one, you can clearly see the impact of achieving rate is much faster than the traditional way. So this is the age when you use the help of tools such as digital. Digital is not only way, but I think achieving certain goals, digital is a via media that everyone should adopt in today's world. So rate of rise or rate of meeting certain objectives definitely much faster when you adopt digital. But the interesting part is there, and I recall, I think Dr. Meeta also addressed on behavioral. She touched base on that part, and this is very interesting. When you have a traditional method where your monitoring system or your upkeeping system, verification, and the complete cycle is manual or a traditional way, there is a behavioral effect, and the systems start downfalling. So if you see the effectiveness or overall performance, you will see the red line where it's a standard phenomena unless you have digital. While if you have digital, there is a mechanism to monitor, and automatically system will either improve or at least sustain at the level you are reached. So this is the interesting phenomena that we have studied it. This is based on our experience. In fact, you might be aware, Omika Works, the factory in Japan, Hitachi factory in Japan at Omika, which manufactures mainly electronics component for across various BUs, is one of the lighthouse project that has been identified by the forum. That in Japan there are only 2 such factories. One of them I'm happy to announce is one of them is Omika Works Hitachi, which is a lighthouse factory in that region, which people visit, and the factory has seen the transformation by adopting digital transformation, by adopting various solutions. Some of them I already mentioned, some of them are their own homegrown solutions as well. So this is all about the journey. I kept it crisp and short. I hope.
No, absolutely. In fact, something. No, this is how we define digital. Digital brings agility to business, right? And something which you can measure can be optimized and baselined and optimized. So I think that's what is coming out very clearly. So I just want to invite, since you're on the digital path of kind of analytics, I want to invite our CTO on our experience, basically how we have brought in some single version of truth across the organization, right? While getting the data strategy, information strategy in place, and getting the AI working on it, as we speak, and supported by, and of course not supported, substantiated by the design thinking way of leading the digital innovation with Sonia.
Thank you, Vivek. So thank you so much, Sunil. As you were walking through the slides, it so resonated with us. What we do is because as we're talking of transformation, the key to be really excelling in this market is to have tremendous business transformation. And when we talk about business transformation, what really helps us get there is the digital transformation, which in turn is driven by data. So what it helps you with is there are various processes, there are various pieces to this gamut of having a digital transformation to handle the data. The first and foremost is data maintaining. How do you maintain the data? How do you manage the data? So a lot of organizations has humongous amount of data, and they're not sure how to use it in a very positive way, monetize the data, have insights driven out of it. So you have data which could be machine data if you are manufacturing. If it is a financial institution, you would have customer data, which could be then utilized to drive certain plans out of it. So the very important aspect of having the data is management, is strategizing how these data components fit within each other, and we can have various good insights driven out of it. Now, what we also strive to do is exactly focusing on the data. So the complete platform that we've built is very focused on data, where we take the data, we do insight, and we do a lot of predictive analytics over it, which you would see in many modules of the product Employfly 4.0. We also do something like we build data lake, where we take the data, we do a strategic assessment of where an organization stands, digital transformation perspective, how closely you're aligned to the industry 4.0 standards, what are the scope for improvement, where you could do better, have that complete digital training, have the complete assessment, and then based on that, we give out certain data features that can be utilized. And what that would include is basically having certain KPIs built out of it, or you could use machine predictive and prescriptive analytics, which uses the AI ML algorithm, the very sophisticated features of natural language processing and object recognition, depending on what the organization is looking into. So we would offer that. And the way the data is handled, it's just not where you're doing machine analytics or this. What we also use it to innovate, which is how we would take that data and try to come up with innovative solutions to remediate some of the issues that you face within an organization using design thinking. So a collaboration of the data that we would use to empathize on where an organization stands, where we could make it better, along with certain strategic solutions, is the entire breadth and width of what we do with the data. So I would like to bring upon Sonia to then speak a little bit about design thinking. And Anir had briefly touched on the product. We do not have enough time to walk through the various modules where we could show how the data fits in, how we apply predictive prescriptive analytics, how we have recommender engine, but maybe we could have some, a session scheduled for that. But in a nutshell, that is what we do. We take the data, we really use it in a very positive way, monetize it, and help the organization build very meaningful insights out of it, which is analytics driven and just descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, along with actual strategic assessment.
So thank you, Pooja, and very rightly put. And, this is what we strive to do is, while there is a data on one end, there are outcomes from that data, and we bring in those outcomes, we stitch those outcomes to understand the under surface level problems and issues which are being faced by an organization. That's when we bring in the part of human centricity. So we don't let go of human centricity in our aim to be, automation, etc., are all at the end of the day outcome, but we don't let go of human centricity. We do not let go of experience and experience management, and more importantly, to understand which of those experiences across people, process, data, and machines should we tinker with, are worth looking at and worth innovating on, so that the customer gets positively impacted. And since we are in the sustainability forum, also the planet as well as the profit, everything gets positively impacted. And like Pooja said, we would have loved to showcase our design thinking capabilities, but we do have certain areas that, of course, we also have IPs on that, which help leaders assess which are the problems to go after, which are all data driven, which are the experiences to manage, what kind of customer insights do you draw, and keep repeating that until you scale. And like our panelists today spoke about, that it is all about continuous improvement. And how do we keep repeating doing that with help of data, with help of AI and ML, is where we have that magic quotient. So I would really we would really love, to have another possibly a longer session to take you through our capabilities. Thank you. Just to say, do look up on our proprietary, IPs that we have on network of influence, network of control, network of experience, how we actually quantify, or we attempt to quantify even the ideas that get generated, so that a leader is as much assured as to which ideas to work on. So yes, we have quantified DBF scoring in a way that is non-biased. So all of these are, very exciting features that we have. We hope to discuss with all of you in great detail as and when we have time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sonia. I think this is got into a very interesting phase where I think we have gone all around the circles of all the quadrants of transformation as that's shown earlier, right? And that is what was coming from the industry as well.
Vivek, I have a small question, if it is okay, if I can ask to Pooja, basically about the solution she mentioned.
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know how you host it, in the sense you have a perpetual license methodology, or you also have a subscription way where you continuously engage with the client, or you have both the models?
So basically what we do, we right now is more licensing. So we
Okay.
give out license and the client can choose the time period that they want the license. As Sonia was mentioning, it's a continuous improvement. So the client, when they come to us, we do their first round of assessment. They probably take the license for 3 to 6 months. Basis on what our digital transformation solutions are predicted from our from our product, then they might want to change some of the processes within their organization, and they could go for another license, or they could take a long-term license with us.
Okay, got it. So it's like a trial version where he can actually test and see the impact
you could have
decide.
a 3 month, you could begin with a 3-month license with us, and depending on how many resources within your organization would want to use the product, you could take number of seats, and we could definitely
Yeah, we can talk. I think, in fact, I was about to talk with Sharad as well. We'll get into a talk on that, so for sure.
Okay.
And of course, you can use the sandbox. You can do the maturity assessment both for sustainability and digital, and then you can.
Our product is also non-linear, which means you don't have to go from one to another. So you can pick and choose as per where your organization is and at what pace you want to be. So all of that, plus across the product and across all the modules, these are all interconnected. So no data or no analysis or no effort goes waste. And of course, over and above that, we do provide an enable visibility even while you are innovating. So you have complete in and out visibility of where you are, and we look at all kinds of iterations. So nothing is lost or hidden in PPTs. It's all, across over at a click of a button.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely, get to it, Sunil.
Yeah. Great. I think, in the end, what I want to actually quickly do it is, let me. So this is something which I have been updating when you can see a single screen, right? Okay.
Yes,
Yes, we can see it.
So I've been updating while all of you have been speaking, actually, right from when Vijay started. So no, there was one version when we started, and there were 3 versions, and this is I will not say final version, but actually, if you see, transformation is all about all these towers. The 2 key metrics is time to market and time to change. It's about collaboration across all these towers and interconnectedness. And what Pooja and Sonia was talking was the non-linear approach around design thinking and data-led digital innovation. We have been talking about sustainable practices, process engineering. We have been talking about new business models that Vijay alluded to. We have been talking as sustainability with business plan, with a purpose, and heading towards circular economy, right? So that you all have a end-to-end value chain visibility. So I think at this juncture, we kind of come to the end of this whole session, and I really want to thank all of you, and of course want to take some final questions here, Aditya, Vijay, before we close down. But pretty much excited to come back with a short meeting, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, in terms of how this can be evangelized as a next level of execution, both from the ecosystem. So Ashok just left and he said, I'm ready to bring in the whole ecosystem for this sustainability journey And of course, he has been working at a national level. And of course, this product platform touches each of those quadrants as well, as I explained it. But yes, I'd leave it to the people for final questions. Aditya, Vijay, Vikas, please shoot it, and then of course we'll take it to the closure.
Right. I just more than a question, I just want to leave a observation or understanding. I think this is what Vivek asked me, that why we find difficult, indirectly asked me why we find difficult to get our plans approved by CEOs or CFOs. My understanding to this subject is that, I think it's our inability to explain and put through a good thought process behind it, that how it is going to be useful to go for these things. All the entire journey or entire transformation, why it is important. Under three heads. Number one is that, as Aditya added, that if we do it, what advantages we have, but if we don't do it, what is we are going to lose? Okay. So if messaging is right, I think any business lead is ready to put money behind any message which gives a feel that it is important. Okay. So it's, I generally believe in saying that normally an investor may not be a guy with the technical background. No. So we don't have to teach them technology. We have to teach them why it makes sense.
Absolutely.
And if we use the language which is meaningful, that why it makes sense, with a lot of examples, that if we don't do this, what can happen, and some examples why it has happened to some other company, and in place of taking typical global examples which everybody knows, and I think something which is close to my home, if I share those thoughts, will help a lot. I used to say that that's a fact. At one time I had a Gujarati boss with a Marwadi boss on top of it. So still, if you can get it approved, then that means you are able to sell the thought. You have to sell the thought, as a business. You don't have to sell a thought as a technology leader. If you go and say that I want to adopt technology because others are adopting, the guy will say why.
Yeah.
So it's our ability to utilize and come out with why it makes sense to go for it. And that's a skill we have to really this thing. Then only then we will be able to get really these platforms to use and all those things.
Absolutely. Value comes first. Right?
Yeah.
Unless until we are able to show the value, everything else will be questioned. Aditya.
Yeah, I think hello, can you hear me?
A bit of echo.
Now can you hear me?
Yeah, very clear.
Basically, I think it's more than, today I think many organizations are seeing is largely, in general, a cost saving opportunity, like energy saving and all those things. But I think it's more than, this cost saving opportunity, or it's our moral responsibility. Being a responsible corporate citizen, it's our moral responsibility. And going beyond the legislation, it was very impressive presentation by our friend earlier, that we have to see beyond that, that what we can do towards the society and in this thing. The challenge will always remain for companies to companies, depending upon size, strength, and capabilities, that how they're going to drive this initiative, across the organization. It has to be done at value, complete value chain, number one. Number two, what are the different steps we take, in the journey to take real benefit out of that. It's not like people don't want to make effort at times, but they're lost in the system, where to start and where to finish, what to do first and what to do next, And journey has to be very systematic, and it has to be across. Sometime मेरे उसमें कहता हूँ कि जैसे संगीत में सुर होते हैं 7 सुर हैं, अगर एक सुर भी बेकार होती है. So to all cylinder has to, all areas have to work. It's not, you cannot say that in the organization 3 departments are doing excellent job or 2 departments are doing everything bad. They're not looking into that at all. It has to be across the value chain, and everybody has to do that. Otherwise, entire thing will be looking, not in the right data. And Vijay sir also said in the beginning that, that if one thing is not good, then, things is not good. We can talk about that. But the challenge is that how we take it forward in a very systematic fashion across the value chain, all functions, and not taking it as like a compulsion, but it's like a moral responsibility. If we all take that, then probably a lot of good insight today, Vivek, in these discussions today, and some of the presentations were very good, and all the speakers gave us good ideas to us, and we'll take it forward from here.
Absolutely. A few words from you, Vikas, and maybe Vishwas.
I don't know.
Yeah, Vikas, we can hear you actually.
So, I'll come to the point straight that every case has to be a business case because everything cannot be charity or CSR. So if we are able to make a business case through maybe the solution which we were talking about, what I understand, it maybe we'll be able to punch a data, but data is not going to speak everything. How to convert it into a business case, I think we are looking forward to that, and maybe after this we'll have another session along with you. Maybe we'll be able to arrive to some conclusion in that. So that is what I'm looking forward.
Absolutely, yes, it has to be. As Vijay has set the stage for us. Value, right? So 3 V's. It is value, and value. Yeah. Perfect. Vishwas, anything to just say, and then we kind of...
Sir, we as a manufacturing persons, we need not to invent. After seeing so many presentation, we need to innovate only. This is what I just wanted to tell.
Yeah, I think you have said everything. Yeah, fantastic. So I think we will end with the final video, same video, I think, just to refresh ourselves, Megha. And then, so Aditya, I was just checking, is it okay for today's meeting, or we shift today's one to tomorrow, because it would have been so many hours for you, all of you on the seat. I did set up for 5:30, but we can change it for tomorrow. Looks like a shop floor.
Maybe we can hear. Is it? Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Audible.
You are.
Am I audible?
You are.
So, Vivek, I think it is going to be late today, but we can do it maybe tomorrow, same time. I'll fix up the timing around 5 o'clock to 5 to 6. Maybe we can discuss, next step.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, next step, and of course, debriefing this one as well. How we can make best use of this ecosystem as well. So, sure.
Yeah.
We'll have that. Great, Megha. So, final the video, and then we move out. Thank you very much, everyone. Just wait for 2 minutes and Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, all the people for staying with us till the end. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Vivek.
Bye.
Thank you.